Hello everyone, Alien Bolt here, and I am playing Star Wars The Old Republic. Star Wars The Old Republic is an MMORPG produced by EA and developed by BioWare. The game is currently a free-to-play game. It's a lot of fun, very story-driven. In fact, probably one of the best story-driven MMORPGs I've ever played. I'm playing on my Jedi Knight. My class is a Sentinel, and basically I am a dual lightsaber wielding kind of a warrior in this story, and I do a lot of damage. I'm just DPS. Even though my gear is not all that great, I still manage to pull pretty decent DPS. And I am in the instance Czerka core Meltdown. Now this instance probably came out 6 to 8 months ago, but I have not really done it that much. Maybe a couple times. I'm a very casual player anymore, so when I play, most of the time I just do a little bit of PvP, or I'll go do some dailies. That's pretty much about it. Occasionally I'll get in a group finder and do some groups. Or if I'm on my Marauder, I may do some operations. I don't really do them on this guy anymore, even though he was primarily the main character I played for PvP and PvE. It just became easier to focus on him for PvP, and I focused on my my Marauder for which is basically he's exactly the same thing, only he's an Imperial. And I focus on him for PvE because some of the people that I originally started the game with and leveled up with ended up moving over to the Imperial side when people just split. And since I have two characters of each class, one on each side that's maxed out, I can pretty much play any class I want on either side. This group up is not ideal, but it's not bad. We have a tank and 3 DPS, no hills. But we do have a commando, and he can actually heal on the fly. And he's a pretty decent backup healer, so we should be pretty good. And the fact that we have a tank, that's a plus side, because normally I end up tanking these if we don't have a tank, because I'm melee and I do pull pretty decent DPS, so I become the Rent-A-Tank, the tank sub. I'm gonna end up following these guys around because I really don't know where I'm going. Looks like they do, so that's definitely a plus for me. I really do like this game. This is probably one of my favorite MMOs, and I know they've had some rough times with subscriptions and ended up having to go free to play. But there was a lot of bugs in this game, and the engine isn't the greatest either. It's built on the Hero engine, and even today, after the game's been out for a couple years, it still cannot be optimized for SLI. I actually have to go into my NVIDIA settings on my control panel and force my game to run on one card, because with 2 cards, although I'll get higher frames per second, for most things, like the way I'm playing right now, when I get into Fleet, where there's like a couple hundred people, my frames will actually drop down sometimes into the teens. And if I only run one card with everything completely maxed out, the lowest I'll see is in the 40s. So, big difference, definitely an issue for me. I really dislike having to downgrade my system to run a game that really should be optimized for SLI. I mean, there's no reason it shouldn't be. This is a computer game. It's built for PC. And what is PC gaming after all? PC gaming is more of the elite form of gaming. It's an expensive hobby. It's maximizing graphics while playing, optimal frame rates. This is not a console. I mean, we're not spending $400 or $500 on a machine to run it, set frame rate. We're running machines that cost anywhere between $1,500 to $4,000 on average for most gamers. And then there are the extremists like people who go out and buy the Falcon Northwest machines. I just configured one the other day just because I wanted to see, how expensive I could actually make it by maxing out every single thing I could possibly get on it. And I had that PC at $17,760. That's insane. Some people do it. I mean, obviously the people that do it probably have more than enough money that upgrading the PC every couple of years at that price is really no big deal for them. For most of us, that's a little outrageous. But that's exactly what game developers need to keep in mind. I mean, there are people out there that go to the extreme and put $3,000 or $4,000 video cards in their machines. That's what they want. They want to be able to run a game in SLI or Crossfire at max settings, at 200 frames per second. That's what they want to do. And they should be able to do it. Game developers should be able to make games that are optimized for PC. And this one just was poorly done. Their reasoning behind it is basically the Hero engine is very poorly optimized, period, for SLI and Crossfire, and they can't do it without basically buying a new engine for the game, which isn't going to happen, especially since it's a free-to-play. So this is about as good as it's going to get. Now, it doesn't mean you can't run in SLI or Crossfire, because you can. Like I said before, I actually get better frames per second for most things that I do running in Crossfire or SLI, depending whether I'm playing on my laptop or my PC. It's just where the extreme cases, when I get into like Fleet, when there's a lot of people and they're doing a lot of different things, then when I'm trying to force sync my frames to run SLI, it basically just bottlenecks me down, which is, really horrible that it does that, but there's no way around it. They're not going to fix it. The gameplay itself, whether you force your computer to run on one card or you only have one card and that's all you run, it still plays very good. It's very fluid. It's probably one of the best games I've played motion-wise. It plays a lot like even World of Warcraft. WoW is probably, that's one of the things that really has going for it. Even though the graphics are really outdated, the gameplay itself is like second to none. And this is probably right there second, right behind it. The gameplay of this game is just that good. Alright, I remember I think we break these eggs, but I don't remember if we do it on ads or actually the boss. Guess we'll find out here real soon. Oh no, I have to chase him. I didn't realize he came up here. Unfortunately, a lot of people ended up leaving this game because when it was initially launched, it was horribly optimized. And I mean, I had my computer running Crossfire at the time, and my frames per second would drop down into the single digits in some places, like PvP zones and stuff, where it was open world PvP. It's a planet called Ilum, but it was really horrible, and a lot of people just didn't stick around for that. They were just really slow to respond to the issues of this game, and I don't know whether EA forced them to release this game earlier than what they should have, which is often the case with a lot of games that are released that have a lot of problems, is that the actual publisher, the people that buy their game out, and own the rights to it, like Activision or EA. They force these developers to release these games way too early, and then what they don't realize is that most of the time gamers aren't going to stick around. I mean, they stick around for a couple months, and if it ain't getting better, if there's not something there that's really going to keep them there despite some of the small bugs, they're gone. And that's exactly what happened this week. That, and I think a lot of people were expecting, you get your own starship, you can fly it around. And it's really not like that. You kind of point, you open up a large solar system map, and you point to the planet you want, and it'll take you there. Your ship kind of just guides itself there. Which is, it's cool. I like the ship and everything like that. I'm not overly disappointed about that, but it would have been cool if you could roam around space freely and actually PvP with other ships as you're doing it. That would have been pretty cool. But there's always hope in the next Star Wars game. It's going to be very similar to this, but most likely in a first-person mode. It might be third-person. Battlefront developed by DICE, the same people that make Battlefield series. It'll be on the Frostbite 3 engine, so it's going to look as good as Battlefield 4. Play similar to Battlefield 4 at open units. And you will have ships to actually go up in orbit and fight. And there's been mentioning that you'll actually be able to go to different solar systems and fly there as well. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I guess we'll have to wait and see. EA will be producing this one again, so hopefully they don't rush it before it's ready, because that's a big thing, and you would think that a publisher would realize that. Obviously you have to set deadlines and say, hey, you need to develop this game by this time because we're tired of paying you money and you're not delivering the results. But if they can't deliver on time, then you either need to weigh out the consequences of pre-releasing something way too early, or just handing it off to another team to finish it up. But after all the lawsuits recently about releasing games too early and not delivering on the content and the gameplay that they advertise, we may see a shift in the industry back to where they postpone games for several months to years because they're just not ready. Who wants to play a broken game? Unless they advertise, hey, we're going to open this up, and let you play in an alpha state while we fix the game and all the problems with it. That would probably be acceptable for most people. Look at all the Steam games now that are out that do exactly that. They're community funded for that reason. And that might be what publishers end up going to. But I have to admit, I'm pretty excited about Battlefront. I love playing Battlefield, all the games, and if it's like that, which I suspect it probably will be, I think it's going to be a great game. This double lightsaber throw that I have there, that's a pretty cool feature that you got, I think, when you level to around 53 or 54. Came in the last expansion, and at first I was like, really, that's all we get? But once I actually started using it, the fact that you don't really have to build up to actually use it, and you can use it kind of at range to pull, it's a really good move. Despite all of its problems, this is a really good game. There's so many pluses to it. It's definitely worth playing. Don't get me wrong, you're going to find the negatives. No doubt about it. There's places where you can, try to be climbing up the side of the hill and get stuck in it, like no way to get out. You try to die or, kill yourself, it doesn't work. You might be floating slightly above the ground, so you can't even use a fleet pass, which is kind of like a Hearthstone where you hearth back to a point. It doesn't even happen. You're just kind of screwed. Sometimes I just log out, play something else, log back in, and then usually it'll be resolved. And then sometimes you just wait a while and it'll finally kick you out, but it's little bugs like that that, you know, shouldn't be there. And I would hope that if it was still a subscription base completely, that it wouldn't. But I'm sure there's still plenty of people paying a monthly subscription. I know I haven't stopped. I've been paying it basically since the beginning. I pre-ordered during the beta phases. I played a few betas and, you know, I just really liked it. Right off the bat, it was something I didn't even think I would like. I tried it. A guy at work was playing some of the betas, and he had, you know, pre-ordered as well, and I started looking at it, and he's like, "Nah, I don't think you're gonna like it. You know, it's not really something that the style of game you normally play, because it's got a lot of story-based gameplay to it." And so I went and I tried it, and I loved it right from the start. I was just like, "Man, this is awesome." But then, of course, you know, through the betas that I played through, you know, you post the same things. Hey, this is broken. Hey, this is broken. Hey, you need to fix this. And, you know, I'm sure they put it on their list, but they never actually fixed it. Man, this guy's taking forever to get here. Finally.
Final protocols initiated. Hunger and the blood scent of war. Leave no survivors. From darkness waking, hunting algorithms bound to death.
This fight's pretty simple. All you really do is you go around the room and destroy like energy consoles. Obviously any circle that gets underneath your feet, running it to the edge is what you should do to make sure the lightning doesn't get on the floor where your teammates might have to cross. When you kill these things, ads spawn. Normally it only takes like 1 DPS to take care of the ads. And then the boss gets out when you kill the last energy chamber thing there. And then you kill him. And he's really not that difficult. This is actually one of the fights I do remember about this instance because it's similar to Eternity Volts. Has a fight with a boss called Soa, and he has energy cubes like this that basically you have to destroy, and you know it'll put one of your teammates inside of it, and it just reminds me of this fight. Even though Soa's is much more difficult than this, the ground floor actually starts breaking away at different levels, and you know, you gotta jump down the platforms before they break away and crash down, and you end up dying. You lose too many people during the descent, and the fight's over, you gotta restart it. This one's nothing like that. This one's actually pretty easy. And I think they built it that way because they when they released this instance, it was the first time they actually designed these to be run by, you know, all DPS, no heals or no tank. You didn't come in here and be able to do this with any group makeup.
Vigilant energy levels at 72%. Czerka Corporation is now absolved of any culpability in your death.
The great dark comes for you.
I think this is going to be the last one right over here. Once we destroy this one. See that little thing right here? That's actually heal yourself. And that's what they put into the game so that way you didn't actually have to have a healer. It still makes it challenging because you can't be getting beat on when you go over and try to click it. You know, you have to be able to get away and go grab it.
Equipment energy levels at 35%. Please secure all data and exit the building immediately.
This big guy's gonna go down.
That flesh cast in metal.
See, he does have those dual lightsabers. This looks so cool. But, you know, the double lightsaber that you get on the Shadow and the Assassin looks pretty good too. Man, the tank needs to taunt here. Get this guy off here. Running for a hill. Maybe that's what he was doing. And that's it. He's down. Pretty short instance. Went really smoothly. And all junk for me. All real greed. Crafting map. That's good. All this stuff I'll real greed on. Hopefully I'll pick up some pieces here and there and gear up my companions, since most of them are still like in Ricotta gear. Well, that's going to do it for this video. It was definitely a quick instance. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I talked a lot through it. I normally try not to do that, but you know, sometimes I get on a roll and I don't shut up. But please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you next time.